The holidays are upon us, and I want to talk about Christmas and video games. Not just Christmas video games, not just Christmas in video games, the whole shebang. I mean, the whole medium seems to revolve around the last few months of a year, with big holiday blockbusters coming out in November, big sales to get those games into your home, and maybe a nice surprise for little Jimmy on the 25th of December. It's something I've paid close attention to ever since I was a kid. Christmas time usually meant that I would be able to try out a new video game. Sometimes it'd be something that would stick with me forever, like Bomberman 64 or Persona 4. Other times I'd get Elemental Gimmick Gear way too early and not understand a dang thing. I might have gotten video games for Christmas, but not once did I get a Christmas video game. This is like uber capitalism to the max, the type of things that exist purely to trick confused family members. Our grandson has the new Sega, well, we'll get him a game for Christmas. Yeah, how about days before Christmas? Thanks, Grandma. Nothing says celebrating the Christmas spirit quite like a Santa Claus platformer where you're collecting presents, smacking festive Christmas enemies like mice and tanks, and a full-on anti-Claus murder rampage prior to bringing the gifts to all the children. Why are some of the stage transitions so creepy? Who is this for, you might ask? Well, it ain't babies, and it ain't typical gamers, so it's either the Overstock trap or grandparent bait, one made by the developers of Dune Awakening, by the way. And this is just scratching the surface. Christmas has always been a big part of video games. Not only do we have these, but we got endless shovelware, we've got oodles of DLC and special holiday editions from the 90s and 2000s. There's Christmas levels in every single platformer ever. And let us not forget to partake in the holiday meme shit. There's even video games that take place on Christmas, because why else is Batman in the thumbnail? It's time for Christmas and video games. So yo, it's Austin, and today we're gonna be diving into the ridiculous world of Christmas and video games, because apparently there's enough for an entire one of these. We've got a lot to get into today, but before we get started, I gotta talk about the greatest video game genre on Earth with today's sponsor, Disney Speedstorm. You know what rules? Kart racers. We've talked about a ton of these, and Disney Speedstorm's a solid one. Pick one of several fan favorite characters like Mickey Mouse, Mulan, each with a unique skill set, and blast through high-speed tracks inspired by classic Disney and Pixar worlds. It's free to play, it's available on like every device, that's PC, mobile, consoles. It's got cross-platform play and save, so you can play with anyone just about anywhere. Disney Speedstorm has various game modes to explore and lots of individual customization for racers and karts, including fun costumes. I actually played this a good bit when it came out, and I was tearing up the road as Mike Wazowski, because one eye's all you need for sick drifts. Disney Speedstorm gets lots of updates with brand new characters and worlds, and now they're introducing the world of Zootopia. Join the race as Judy, Nick, and Flash to celebrate the release of Zootopia 2. There's also a brand new course based on the film and a ton of Zootopia-themed events and game to play. Alongside this is the Speedrun event in partnership with speedrun.com that's going to be running December 19th to 27th. Catch a high-priority suspect as ZPD officers Judy and Nick with potential prizes and digital rewards for doing so. So if you want to hop into the races, download Disney Speedstorm using my link in the comments. You can download the game with the link in the description or the QR code, and make sure to use code Eruption on screen to claim in-game gifts today. Thanks to Gameloft for sponsoring today's video. Now, let's get into it. And I'm not sure where else to start besides the beginning. Christmas has been a huge part of video games since the early days. I mean, if you were around in the 80s, you might have stumbled upon a copy of Thoughtware's Jingle Disc. There's nothing like a holiday greetings card from a friend. So how about a digital one you can slap in your PC? A beautiful, wholesome Christmas program. Not really a video game per se, but just a thing you'd slap into your computers, read a few poems, about 4 to 5 minutes worth of content that you pay real money for. It's also a holiday card maker, if you'd like. If you ever made or received a Jingle Disc holiday card in your lifetime, please let me know. I gotta know. It's certainly more wholesome than the other early Christmas computer program, Maria's Christmas Box, a totally normal poker game. Sure, you can play it on the Amiga, but I prefer the ZX Spectrum version. It's abstract. I think the first actual Christmas video game has to be 1984's Special Delivery Santa's Christmas Chaos. This came out on a few platforms like the C64 and ZX Spectrum, and it's essentially a horizontal scroller where you dodge lightning, catch presents, dive into chimneys while dodging fire, then navigating an insane house layout to deliver presents and escape out the front. Turns out everyone's awake on Christmas Eve. Did Goodnight Moon teach you people nothing? Do we need the sequel? It's a shame though, this game is unfortunately a bootleg. That's right, if you want to get into the Christmas spirit for real, you need the official Father Christmas. It's officially bad. Official Father Christmas is something you can crush in like 10 to 20 minutes. First, you gotta put together your sleigh, which seems simple enough, but Santa's elves are hell-bent on making things miserable. Probably union related. Eventually, you're delivering Christmas presents in something that controls as poor as it looks, but honestly, this whole thing was put together to support Save the Children, so I can't dog on it too much. I do like that Santa delivers presents in order to America, Europe, Africa, Antarctica, and then the final level, Finland? Y'all know Monty Mole? This was a short-lived British video game series for various PCs in the 80s that you might have seen tossed into a cheap collection on the eShop. But the 5th game in the series was Molly Christmas. A very basic late 80s platforming game, beatable in a few minutes, and more of a free conversion of the franchise for the sake of Christmas. But hey, we'll get to a few more of those later. Did you know the Philips CDI has not one, but 2 Christmas video games? 2 games that are actually unemulatable due to the state of the software and the fact that you need a digital video cartridge in order to play them. Christmas Crisis and Christmas Country. Both are 2D platformers, both do similar things, but only one is considered one of the best Philips CDI games. I'm not kidding. I'll let you guess which. The answer is the one with music. Christmas Country has no in-game music. Perfect. Christmas Crisis has an insane jump speed, some chill Christmas MIDI tracks, and it seems to function like a normal video game, one with occasional first-person navigation. Unfortunately, I can't get a good grasp on either of these due to the fact that I'm not gonna toss several $100s into a vat for a console, the cartridge, and the games, but well, it looks like the CDI was quite the jolly system. It also had You Sing Christmas Favorites and a Christmas songbook, programs for everyone. Last up on our list of good old-fashioned wholesome Christmas and Santa video games, because we aren't gonna talk about Santa-kun. Santa Claus in Trouble. Originally released in 2002, Santa Claus in Trouble was made by Joy Mania Development, which is probably the same emotion they wanted you to feel while playing this. Santa in Trouble is a very simplistic 3D platformer. You gotta run through a ton of levels collecting presents because somehow you lost everything, and they all just happen to land on random floating platforms in the sky. This is one of those games that looks the exact same the entire time. There's a giant void of darkness underneath you. Creepy goblins are mucking about with Santa hats on, and you'll slowly make your way through. And I mean slow. But at least Santa can change the trajectory of his jump in real time. That's cool, I guess. 2 years later, they'd release a follow-up, Santa Claus in Trouble again, because I guess this guy can't keep track of anything. Both of these were freeware on release, and were about as good as you could be as a wholesome Christmas game. They'd also be compiled into an HD version in 2020, Santa Claus in Trouble HD. Not offensive, not bad, simply a video game. $9.99 well spent.
Hey, you. Finally awake.
All right, that's enough of the cute, festive, family-friendly stuff. It's time to dive into the bizarre. The kind of stuff that makes you go, hey, what the frick? Games that are just clear cash grabs, max capitalism, and nonsense that probably isn't in the spirit of the holiday. When you think of crappy Christmas video games, you probably think of Elf Bowling. Santa has had enough. The Elf Bowling franchise is one that, well, the idea of calling it a franchise is wild, but there's a whole bunch of these, and I can't download half of them because they get marked as viruses. In the Elf Bowling series, you basically throw balls or elves and in different sport things. They're all flash or low budget nonsense with close to no gameplay. We've got Elf Bowling 1, Elves in Paradise, Elf Bowling 2, Elf Bowling 3 has you throwing them onto targets, there's Elf Bowling Bocce Style, Super Elf Bowling, Elf Bowling 6, Air Biscuits, and the holiday pack that comes with Hawaiian Vacation and 7 1/7 The Last Insult. I have no idea how we got this many games about Santa beating the crap out of his working staff, but to be fair, they might deserve it.
Is that all the balls you've got, Santa?
Good things come to those who gain weight.
You suck!
Let's get ready to rumble.
Elf Bowling 1 and 2 made its way to Game Boy Advance and DS, has the metascore you would expect, and kinda sucks. It's not a game, but they actually adapted this franchise into a movie. Elf Bowling the movie, The Great North Pole Elf Strike. They got freaking SpongeBob for it. How did this happen? I'd like to think that Elf Bowling is Uncle Core. There's a lot of games that'll have you turning your head. The self-referential parody style that usually ends up mashing Christmas and violence into a single package. 1995's Terror in Christmas Town is exactly that. Originally based on a little shareware title called Santa's Rescue 3D, they basically turned that into a first-person shooter where you run around blasting Christmas-related things. It's a big ol' whatever. Then you got something like Jack in the Dark. Infogrames made a spin-off promotional game to get the word out about Alone in the Dark 2, where you would play as a child named Grace Saunders, stuck in a toy store on Halloween, which sounds like it's not Christmas, but the whole game has you, guess what, saving Santa Claus. Homie's in the Jack in the Box prison. Ho ho ho, please buy Alone in the Dark 2, which also features you putting on a Santa suit. Some of these are just tangentially related. There's James Pond 2, codename RoboCod, where you play as James Pond. Turns out the game with a reference to Bond and RoboCop is actually about saving Christmas as the North Pole's been taken over. It's a pretty solid platformer with an interesting stretching mechanic because I guess the RoboCod enhancements let him do some of this. Which is also horrifying to think James here is just a fish that got chopped in half. It's time to save Christmas, James. Santa Claus Jr., developed by Neon Software, also responsible for Mr. Nuts, Hoppin' Mad, and Dave Mirra Freestyle BMX for the Game Boy Color. This one's a simple platformer. Santa's been shrunken down and shoved into a fishbowl completely naked by some witch, so it's up to your dope self, barely fitting into the Santa jacket, to save the day. This one's not bad. There's a lot of stage variety, and Santa Jr.'s got a good amount of unique animation as he plods around. Music's also got a good vibe. Honestly, this might be one of the better Christmas games out there. It feels more like a better than average platformer where you're playing as a small wizard that collects candy canes and not so much ho ho ho, Christmas time, baby.
What would you like for Christmas, huh?
The sequel, on the other hand, yes, sequel, Santa Claus Jr. Advance. This one's okay. It's been a year, Nick's a bit older and more 2000s cool, and this time he can run. The witch is back, Santa's not gonna deal with any of that, so it's off you go. Although that doesn't stop him from judging your performance with hand motions at the end of levels. Nick's got more powers, but honestly, this whole game feels a lot less charming than the original. The visual style's all over the place, the level design is okay at best, and honestly, you'll have a better time with the first one. They're both certainly better than Santa Claus Saves the Earth. Santa must save the world from the evil polluton. Navigate various environments like this endless mine shaft. Make your way to stage 3, which depicts what looks like a rocket ship or some cannon blowing up the planet, and try to survive. Oh, Santa disintegrated. You did not make it. Oh no, rest in peace, Santa Claus. To be honest, a lot of Christmas video games are kinda like this, non-games or meme shit. For every slop shop hitting Steam, there's also a Christmas Massacre. The second release by Puppet Combo, a VHS-styled horror slasher game that's in the name. Essentially a short 3D version of Hotline Miami with an aesthetic that'll stick in your brain. You play as a guy named Larry. You know what's going on. You just might not expect a Christmas tree with lips.
Kill, 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 kill. Keep on killing, Larry. Punish everybody who has been naughty.
Which leaves us with two more what the heck games. First up, Cthulhu Saves Christmas, the sequel to Cthulhu Saves the World, and a fun indie JRPG comedy game by Zeboyd Digital. You might recognize some of their other releases like Cosmic Star Heroine or Breath of Death 7, the latter a big star on the Xbox Live Indie Arcade back in the day. Well, Cthulhu Saves Christmas is once again in the name. Everyone's favorite eldritch horror is in charge of making sure Santa does his job as you go to Christmas Eve Day 1, Day 2, Day 3, and so on, looking to defeat the Christmas League of Evil. It's goofy, the music's pretty good, it's short, funny, and a solid RPG for those who have free time on a cold winter day. And lastly, when I say the words Christmas Metroidvania, How do you feel? I assume the first emotion is fear, but honestly, Ebenezer in the Invisible World is a lot better than you would expect. Advertising itself as a reimagined version of Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol, you play as Ebenezer Scrooge, who has basically found a way to work together with the ghosts of Christmas past, present, and future, alongside other spectral people as he makes his way through London, trying to put a stop to the evil plot of one Caspar Malthus. Essentially, Scrooge is now fighting against capitalism in this $20 video game that's a sequel to A Christmas Carol. The surprising part is, it's actually pretty good, and it seems like others think so too. It's mostly positive on Steam. There's a cool weapon variety and ability ramp treadmill that expands your moveset with time and a cool set of abilities. The animations are way better than you'd think, although it's hilarious to look at the bottom of the screen and see Ebenezer's face just staring at you. There's moments where I totally forget I'm playing a Christmas video game until I run into the spirit of Christmas past who's like, hey dude, what's going on? With everything I've said, you can glean pretty much everything you need to know from looking at the screen right now. I'd actually be tempted to call this one a little closer to a Hollow Knight-like due to some of its mechanics. You equip 4 different accessories to change your stats and movesets, unlock teleport points via the London Ghost Tram, so there's a lot of backtracking. There's no RPG leveling up stats or XP at all, so if this is the type of game you're into, you could do a lot worse. Ebenezer in the Invisible World is a bizarre Christmas-themed game that has no reason to exist. I don't think anyone was out there asking to double jump with Scrooge. It takes itself so seriously, and I love it. That sure was a lot, but for now let's keep things moving with a tradition that may not be as common these days, but still exists. Back in the 90s, a lot of video games had Christmas-themed packs and demos. It was basically a tradition. The earliest that I remember seeing was Christmas Lemmings. The popularity of Lemmings in Europe cannot be understated. Not only did the franchise pop off in the 90s, but it was big enough to support not 1, not 2, but 4 totally different holiday-themed puzzle games. The first 2 were included with various gaming and Amiga format magazines before they went ahead and created Holiday Lemmings 1993 and 1994. They didn't have a ton of levels, but were essentially created as shareware and demos to promote Oh No More Lemmings before being turned into full retail releases. It's it's Lemmings, but with some hype classic Christmas tunes. Yeah, that's the 90s. DMA Design wouldn't be the only ones to do this though, not even close. We've got Jetpack Christmas Special for all the big Jetpack fans. We got All Terrain Racing Christmas Edition. There's Cannon Soccer, a combination of cannon fodder and sensible soccer. A vast majority of these were included with Amiga magazines, same with Fire and Ice Christmas Special. Yo, anyone else spending their holidays in the club? These obviously didn't have the same impact in the States as the Amiga, didn't have nearly the same presence, but I do remember seeing Jazz Jackrabbit Holiday Hair 94. Now, if you haven't played Jazz Jackrabbit, you should. It's basically what if Sonic and Bucky O'Hare got fused into one, and it's frequently seen as one of the best platformers on MS-DOS. It gained a lot of popularity as shareware, and in late 1994, Epic Mega Games would slap this into the world with a brand new planet, Holidaeus. Sure, it's like another 15 minutes of gameplay tops, but for fans of jazz or those who just wanted to try a cool shareware demo, it was fantastic. Nothing like a heavy butt rock version of Sleigh Ride. The following year, Holiday Hair 95, then the less successful sequel, Jazz Jackrabbit 2, had Holiday Hair 98, and the enhanced version, The Christmas Chronicles. Holiday Hair is like a full-on 45-minute game, but it was also a standalone release you had to buy in stores. A solid Christmas pack that expands on this underrated title. I think my favorite one of these has to be Duke Nuclear Winter. Not because it's any good, because it's not great, but because the entire concept is so dumb. Duke Nukem 3D is a fantastic first-person shooter, full stop. Its gameplay's held up, its campiness is unmatched, and the Duke remains an icon of 3D realms and early 90s shooters alongside Doom. But you may not know that 3D got itself a whole bunch of expansion packs and add-ons around the time. Not like by 3D realms, but authorized expansions by GT Interactive. We had Duke It Out in DC, Duke Nukem's Penthouse Paradise, Duke Caribbean, Life's a Beach. Look, these covers are just him doing the same thing again. Duke Nuclear Winter is, well, that cover explains it all. Duke Nuclear Winter was a full-ass chapter of 3D sold in stores with a big old box where you play as the cigar-toting baddie loving Nukem on a mission to stop a brainwashed Santa Claus from doing things. I mean, you look at the game and it's just the Duke fighting snowmen, aliens dressed up in Santa fits, and elves with machine guns, all set to cheery Christmas tunes. A hilarious idea, but also a lackluster conversion, as there's a lack of experience with the level design. Some of the maps are straight up lifted out of Duke 3D's LA Meltdown chapter. Other levels are poorly executed concepts that have no staying power, except for maybe the crates that say toys for poor kids or the final boss.
Oh, it's not nice to shoot Santa.
Yeah, I don't know what else you'd expect. It's old Duke taking out Kris Kringle, saving some babes in the North Pole, and a scary 3D animation of Frosty the Snowman blessing the world with a Duke Nukem Christmas poem. Something something, bleeding out their holes. Duke Nukem kicks ass, and to all a good night. This sucks, and I love it.
Let's rock.
That's not all though. Christmas Nights into Dreams was a little demo you could pick up with various magazines like Next Generation or certain Saturn purchases that was a single level demo of Nights, but Christmas. It actually came with a full-on opening cutscene, a new soundtrack and level, and a few other hidden things. The disc would actually change what the game was based on the time of year on your Sega Saturn, those being New Year's nights, winter nights, and even a Sonic the Hedgehog thing. If it wasn't winter at all, you'd be playing Nights Limited Edition. It's essentially a demo for that game, something that I've always had a hard time understanding, but still cool nonetheless. Same deal with Toy Commander Christmas Edition for the Dreamcast. It's Toy Commander, it's got Christmas, you got Santa with a jetpack, you know, it's Toy Commander, supremely underrated. After the 90s, the physical holiday expansion would fade out pretty quick and make way for the next era of Christmas in video games, the levels. A lot of developers would throw random holiday references into like any game they were making. Freezy Peak in Banjo-Kazooie, Christmas showing up in Bully, Frosty Village in Diddy Kong Racing, Christmas Town in Kingdom Hearts 2. You got Holly Jolly and Mario and Luigi Partners in Time, Holiday Broadcasting in Gex 3 Deep Cover Gecko, Mario Kart 64, Gorilla Glacier in Donkey Kong Country, heck even Snowden in Undertale is a Christmas area. It's a pretty common occurrence these days with plenty of examples and more coming all the time. And this opens up even further with the existence of holiday DLC. If we move full steam ahead into the Steam era, there's countless video games getting Christmas-themed mission packs, events, skins, and random expansions that you can't even keep up with. Not all are good, mind you, but some of them are like Killing Floor Twisted Christmas. This was a yearly event they ran in both Killing Floor 1 and 2, where, well, it's simple. You play as your standard squad looking for money to kill zombies with, except it's Christmas. You're in Santa's workshop. The Zeds are dressed up like freaking snowmen, elves, Rudolph, gingerbread men with chainsaws. You're just playing Killing Floor with a dissonant Christmas theme, and it's a fun time. This is a neat yearly tradition of both Killing Floor 1 and 2, which hasn't actually made its way into Killing Floor 3 yet, adding to the disappointment that game has caused over the last year. Twisted Christmas is a tradition, and I love game developers supporting their games with silly stuff like this. Ever heard of Viscera Cleanup Detail? It's basically power washing sim, except you're the janitor who's cleaning up the space station after a horrible alien thing probably happened. Well, prior to that game's official launch, they released standalone levels, one for Shadow Warrior and the other for Christmas, Santa's Rampage. I mean, you're looking at the screen, you see the name of the game, you know what this is, Christmas. Holiday-themed events are now really common for video games, quality be damned. Borderlands 2 has a DLC called How Marcus Saved Mercenary Day, where you're battling against the abominable Mr. Tender Snowflake and a whole bunch of smug-looking snowmen. Saints Row 4 How the Saints Save Christmas is a short and sweet DLC pack in the season pass for that game. Nothing like delivering presents to all the children with a VTOL sleigh while doing air combat. Time to ungrinch yourself and save Santa like a good saint.
Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out!
If you want something a little less violent, more cozy, Lake Season's Greetings will have you exploring Providence Oaks over the holidays while delivering packages in a cozy manner. Play an MMO, I bet it's got a Christmas event. We may not be getting full-on Christmas video games and expansions these days, but if you want to play a weird rhythm minigame in Final Fantasy XIV during the Starlight celebration, you've got it. Then there's one more layer. We got Christmas oddities, Christmas programs, slop, DLC, and level packs, but what about games on Christmas? Sometimes 1225 or 2512 might be used in something that may not be about the holiday exclusively. For instance, it may not be important to anything really, but Metal Gear 2 takes place around Christmas. It's kind of like Die Hard taking place on Christmas. John McClane may not save Christmas, but in stopping the terrorist attack at Nakatomi Plaza, he in fact saved Christmas, which I guess means Solid Snake heading to Zanzibar Land on Christmas Eve also counts. Sure. There's plenty of examples like this. Squaresoft classic survival horror Parasite Eve takes place on Christmas, opening with a horrifying opera sequence on Christmas Eve, leading into the body horror driven narrative taking place all over the break. Unfortunately, that means if you were living in New York in this world, the holidays were probably a bust. Mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. Let us not forget Bayonetta 2. Look, it's freaking Santa Claus. Smoking.
What you mounted to?
Technically, Ubisoft's The Division is also a Christmas game. Well, the pandemic outbreak started around Christmas anyways. There's lights and trees spread throughout the game with an outpost playing festive music. You can embrace the eternal holiday season with the sound of bullet rounds popping off and open world PvP. Look, at a certain point, I'm just gonna be saying, this takes place on Christmas, this takes place on Christmas, so I'll spare the details. But if you ever boot up Yakuza Kiwami, Dead Rising 4, or any of these several Batman Returns ports, it'll be Grimace. Speaking of Batman, Arkham Origins is an underrated entry in this franchise with a fantastic holiday atmosphere. Batman Arkham Origins is a funny one because it's typically counted outside of the trilogy. Instead of Rocksteady, Origins was developed by Warner Brothers Games Montreal, the people responsible for Gotham Knights, and truthfully, I've neglected this one. The premise is pretty solid. WB Games took the map of Gotham from Arkham City, revamped it up a bit, covered it in snow, and presented a prequel to the franchise that was a lot better than you would expect. You take a younger Bat, have him face a bounty put on him by Black Mask, which brings out 7 deadly assassins to Gotham on Christmas Eve. You meet and fight the Rogues Gallery, you win the game. It's a perfect reuse of assets and something I'd love to see more often. Taking the prequel route, WB Games was able to add a lot to Bruce's character and some of the villains in the Arkhamverse, yet I still feel like it's seen as the black sheep of the franchise. It's also the one that features Deathstroke, and he's awesome. I need to spend a bit more time with it too, but I will say the snowy, cold, foggy atmosphere of winter Gotham is its own character. Christmas may not be like important in the story, but the element of the season is all over the screen. This game also added a detective mode, which makes you spend a lot more time digging through the environment, which will make exploration a lot more meaningful. Arkham Origins is super underrated, and it's also got that multiplayer mode with the 2v3 that you can still play with mods. But most of all, even the least appreciated Arkham game is still peak. Lastly, Deathsmiles 2, aka Deathsmiles 2X Makai no Merry Christmas, aka Merry Christmas in Hell. Some of y'all might know Deathsmiles as that one collector's edition for the Xbox 360 that came with a faceplate that a lot of people I knew had for some reason, but it's also a side-scrolling bullet hell shmup by legendary dev Cave, who do a lot of these. The original supposedly takes place on Halloween, so where else to go than to the most wonderful time of the year. Yep, the most wonderful time of the year. Deathsmiles 2 is pretty good though. It was the first game Cave developed using 3D models as opposed to sprites, and they sure spared no expense making this game as Christmassy as possible. The stages, the bosses, the menu, the music, you know, just a Christmas where Satan Claus shows up and kills your grandfather. Merry Christmas! All the menus have wreaths, Christmas decorations, there's a constant slew of sleigh bells in the background, and then of course you dive straight into metaphorical hell. Is this really a Christmas game? I'm not sure, but some of the holiday cheery sounding music is a total vibe. And now, one last topic, and I'm sure it's something a lot of y'all have been waiting on. There are a lot of licensed Christmas video games. Just stuff based on the movies and characters we were shown growing up. Because if you thought we were gonna be making it through one of these videos without talking about some Grinch video games, you were sorely mistaken. know, I wish you were right. I'm not really sure how we live in a dimension where there are 4 separate, completely different Grinch video games, but here we are. Dr. Seuss's famous anti-capitalist, anti-Christmas spirit cool guy has been commodified into several movies, all sorts of toys, things, and multiple video games for different generations to enjoy. The first of which was made by Konami. Grinch for the Dreamcast and PlayStation 1, developed by Artificial Mind and Movement, was not an official tie-in game for the Jim Carrey movie, but it did release a week prior to that coming out, so it might as well be. This here's a platformer where you saunter around doing Grinch things, and I do mean saunter. Look at this unwieldy walk cycle. We follow the Grinch as he's upset about Christmas joy and decides to throw down with the entire Whovian people. He's got rocket jets, he's got rotten egg guns, he's basically Wile E. Coyote with a bunch of blueprints and gadgets designed to ruin everyone's day while flattening Christmas presents with his large ass. You ever met anyone with breath this bad? Yep, that's the Grinch, and he's sure to let you know.
Yeah, Grinch!
Isn't that his name? I don't recall this dude being a Pokemon, just a fellow Christmas hater. Anyways, yeah, this game sucks. I mean, just look at the dang thing. You're constantly fighting against with whatever the heck is supposed to be going on. Most goals are really confusing and boring. Stealth gameplay does not work in a game that is also unfun to play. It's also very hard to tell what you're supposed to be doing at any point. I mean, you can hit start and see your goals, but they don't really expand on that. The controls are a mess, unresponsive, and I couldn't do a single mission in a reasonable amount of time without looking at a guide. Backtracking in my 3D Grinch platformer? No thanks. I think the aggregate scores from the time tell the correct story, especially when you can get stuck in endless combat.
Ouch! It's unbearable!
Grinch on the Dreamcast is a fever dream. I'd much rather play Grinch on the Game Boy Color. Yeah, why he posed up like that? Developed by Konami Nagoya, The Grinch is a basic maze-style adventure where you run around collecting presents and dodging Whovians Metal Gear Solid style. It's actually got a good amount of charm. The music throws down, the animations have a lot of character. I mean, look at Max getting chased around. Truthfully, this one is really simplistic and repetitive. It's not very long, and I'm sure there's hundreds of other games people would rather play on the Game Boy before this, but I'm surprised they pulled off a decent title. Heck, it somehow smuggled its way into the IGN Best of 2000 awards, being the runner-up to Metal Slug's second mission and Best Action Game for Game Boy. How did that happen? 10-year-old me probably would have loved this. Dr. Seuss How the Grinch Stole Christmas for the Nintendo DS. Not today. Nothing like a 2D stealth platformer where everyone moves at a snail's pace. This is like a flash game you'd find on CartoonNetwork.com, except they're charging real money. And lastly, shoot forward to 2023, we've got a brand new Grinch video game, The Grinch Christmas Adventures. It's serviceable, at least I thought until I realized I was playing without the audio. Let me just turn that on real quick. Yeah, you're gonna be hearing that sharp ting with every present, huh? The Grinch Christmas Adventures, or the version I played, the Merry and Mischievous Edition, because it got brand new DLC in 2025, is a bog standard platformer where you play as the green dude, grabbing presents and going to the next level. What you see is literally what you get. You dodge obstacles, you go into houses for stealth segments, and by stealth, I mean just running through because the AI is incapable of posing a threat. Even still, just duck under a table right in front of him. Oh, where'd he go?
He was here a second ago.
Rinse repeat forever, or until you accidentally clip through the walls and end up in an interdimensional Grinch rift. This keeps happening to me. I felt a whole lot of nothing playing this, except like a single giggle when I found out you could speed up the spoken dialogue.
The Grinch can't squeeze through. These pipes are too small. But for Max, getting by is no trouble at all.
I feel similarly about Elf on the Shelf Christmas Heroes, which makes sense considering it is the exact same developer and publisher duo, Outright Games and Casual Brothers. I don't like Elf on the Shelf, like the concept. Nah, it's not for me. But this game with a single user review on Steam, negative BT dubs, is the most nothing game I've played this year. You are the elf. You are not on the shelf, you're a Christmas hero, which means every single time you hit the jump button, get ready for the sleigh bells. Collect sparkles, magic? Apparently it's Christmas spirit. Get to the end of the level without getting hit and losing a bunch Sonic style. This game is incredibly easy, and in a few reviews, I saw it labeled as a good game for kids, which is crazy because the first game I ever played was Kirby's Adventure for the NES. Who's out there giving elf-on-the-shelf Christmas heroes to their kids? Shame. Anyways, at a certain point, you get to name your scout elf with predetermined phrases. So here's Butter Fancy Pants. He's got a little bit of everything going on. Accidentally made him Charlie's uncle from It's Always Sunny. Level selection's done on a giant advent calendar, so you have to scurry around looking for the next number and then hop into the stages. Every level has little mini games to tackle, some of which are super difficult actually. Woo! Barely made it. What the f? Eventually your moveset expands, you get like an air dash, but at the end of the day, it's still the freaking elf-on-the-shelf video game. A video game that came out in October 2025. Why October? If nothing else will make you sick of Christmas in this video, this will.
You're really getting the hang of this.
Fantastic. We've made it to your new family's house.
As you can probably guess, this is just the tip of the licensed games iceberg. The Santa Claus 3, The Escape Clause, is not just a terrible name for a movie and game, but also a generic Game Boy Advance platformer that I only remember for this. Why did Tim Allen do this? Well, it's a little better than this at least. Also on the Game Boy Advance, Elf the Movie. No, not one of those cards that shoved 2 low-quality episodes of Dragon Ball GT onto a small screen. I'm talking 45 minutes of terrible platforming, low-quality screen grabs of Will Ferrell and random minigames before saving Christmas. Just don't get hit by a car. Well, too late. There's a few more worth mentioning. The Polar Express's movie adaptation got itself a few games, all with super lackluster reviews. Home Alone has a few tie-ins, mostly terrible, and there's a handful of Die Hard games out there. Trilogy is fantastic, but that NES one, a little less so. But there's one more game I want to talk about, and it's a name I think we all know around here. I was originally going to plop this in my worst of 2025 video, but I kind of felt like it needed a little more build-up. Were you aware that in the year 2025, in the middle of September, Game Mill Entertainment released a video game on Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer? This isn't the first Rudolph video game. It's not even the first game based on stop-motion Rankin and base animated specials. There was a Rudolph and Santa Claus is Coming to Town game on the Wii. Santa's a pretty run-of-the-mill platformer, and that Rudolph game is notorious. And also beatable in like 15 minutes. Like actually, 15 minutes of mini-games and whoop, let's go home. So, Newdolph. Game Mill Entertainment teamed up with Headless Chicken Games for this one, and I'm afraid people are falling for old school shovelware rocking a $40 price tag. Or a 20, because it's on sale all the time. Rudolph actually looks pretty nice. The visuals may be lacking the stop motion animation, but they look fuzzy and felty. Well, at least in the beginning. Alrighty y'all, let's check. Yeah! Rudolph is, from what I gather, a level-based Spyro-like? You play as Rudolph when you're not fighting the camera going absolutely bonkers, gathering these gold Christmas gems and ornaments, doing little missions to help people out, and experiencing a raging case of tinnitus anytime his nose starts glowing around a collectible. Every single time! You essentially play through the film in different stages, most of which look identical if you can't tell by the footage. It's Snow Chief, snow everywhere. You start out in Santa's village, make your way to the Isle of Misfit Toys, you run from the Yeti, you watch Bumble take a sharp 90 degrees angle down into the water because what is animation, and keep it going while the antlers grow, and play through what I can only describe as a sleeper shit. When you first boot up Rudolph, it doesn't seem to be that bad. It's got a little charm, the controls aren't terrible, but the more you go, the more you realize how off the level design is. You'll be scouring looking for objectives, especially in the Misfits Toys level, because you need to finish every submission and some of those toys be hiding, all while searching for collectibles that aren't properly marked on this useless map, hearing the stinging of Rudolph's nose popping off, and getting introduced to new mechanics randomly, like, hey Rudolph, check out this wall jump. What are we doing? Never mind me trying to put in an actual effort to 100% it for the hell of it, only to be greeted with a bell I literally can't pick up because it glitched out. My platinum dreams dashed away. Dashered? That is if you can even find all the collectibles. Some of them are like tucked away to the point where you might need a guide. A guide for Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer 2025. You look so small on the screen, and movement is hilarious because if you jump and dash at the same time, he kind of glitches forward with more momentum than usual. So I just kept spamming that. I'm moving so fast in the racing stages that the camera can barely keep up. I just, all of this together with the sharp noises, the camera going nuts, this repetitive Christmas music and terrible voice acting, it's enough. No more.
No more.
Game Mill Entertainment's Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer is one of the worst games I played in 2025, and well, that shouldn't surprise anyone. There's a whole lot of Christmas video games out there, still tons of them coming out today apparently. Some good and weird, like Ebenezer and the Invisible World, some of which are elf-on-the-shelf Christmas heroes. But only Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer 2025 has a switch-hitting puzzle with physics so bad, you need to ground pound to maybe hit a switch that is placed mid-air.
I don't want any more bullshit anytime during the day.
And so there we have it. The ridiculous, jolly, festive world of Christmas and video games, and to all a good night. That's my best Duke Nukem style poem. Christmas video games are such a weird part of the culture, but I'm glad that we were able to explore the entire concept of how Christmas and video games have just kind of intertwined over the years. Truthfully, games like this are right up in my wheelhouse, and I'll always love hopping on some random, shooter that I'm playing and hopping into the Christmas event and being, oh, let's get the Santa hats. They're just reminders of the time, of family, and supposedly good vibes, but not always. Sometimes it's whatever Deathsmiles 2 was serving. If I missed any notable Christmas video games that I should take a look at, let me know down in the comments below. And if you liked the video, check out today's sponsor, Disney Speedstorm. You can also support the channel directly over at the Patreon because every dollar y'all toss goes into making videos like this. From my editing team, my family, and myself, thank you all so much for watching and have a happy holidays. Anyways, I'm gonna head out for now. I've been Austin, and I'll catch you guys next year. When we're really running out of time for Anthem, huh? Thank you all so much for watching. Special Patreon shout out to Benna Oswald, Blackfoot Ferret, Blake Thomas, Cheeks, Clark Fox, Chris Shelton, DX Buster, Dylan Snyder, Fragile Traveler, Hey Quiggles, Jay Roos, Jacoby Fitzpatrick, Kevin Zanowski, Nocturnal Nix, Pierre, Platinum Rose, Pacha Bear, Rare Find It, Ryan Siri, and Vox. Thank you all so much for your generous support. We made it. Another year, a whole bunch of videos, and at what cost? I actually played a whole bunch of video games this year in my spare time. I wanted to see if I could maybe potentially make something talking about games I really liked, but I ended up getting really sick. However, if that is still something you would like to see in January, let me know. Happy holidays to everybody, and I'll catch you guys next time. Bye-bye.